Tonight on Beyond the District, we see one little girl who has captured the heart of the whole country.
Beyond District will return in 2 minutes.
I watched you cry, bathed in sunlight by the bathroom door. Obsessed, depressed at the same time. I can't even walk in a straight line. I've been lying in the dark, no sunshine, no sunshine, no sunshine. She cries when I look into your eyes. You're not even there. It's just a feeling, just a feeling, just a feeling that I have. It's just a feeling, just a feeling, just a feeling that I have, yeah.
How far would you go to help someone? Would you go to the end of your driveway? Would you cross a street? Would you cross an ocean? Would you go if you could use your knowledge to teach someone? And in the process, maybe learn something yourself. Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Hello, I'm Chris Ortiz, and welcome to TV21's Beyond the District.
And I'm Jarrett Weiss. Later on tonight, we will take a look at a family that is helping defend our country.
But up first tonight, they're the leftovers of the holiday, the Christmas trees. Many people toss them into the trash or cart them to the recycling centers. But there's one other option Vanessa Peng found that eco's animal friendly.
They're in their winter garb, ready to recycle Christmas.
There's this surplus of variety just waiting out there, and that's Christmas trees.
When it's warmer, these goats usually clear out overgrown fields.
In the summer, we use our goats on customers' properties to deal with unwanted vegetation, weeds, and brush, but in the winter, there's not much of that happening, and the goats don't have a lot of variety in their diets.
So after the holidays, they'll gladly eat your Christmas leftovers
You have to get rid of your Christmas tree anyway.
without the tinsel and ornaments.
One, it gives the goats some variety, and two, Christmas trees actually have tannins in them that help the goats deal with internal parasites that they're susceptible to.
The hard workers of goat rental service Goats on the Go will eat your tree for free while you watch. All they ask is if you can, give to Kid for a Kid. The organization donates kids or baby goats to needy Haitian children.
Make that last kind of usually joyless event of the Christmas season kind of more fun, and watch the goats in action and give to a good cause.
Up next, a daring river rescue, a selfless act by Stephen Peterson, has created a national buzz. Fox TV1's Lena Takada has the story.
Peterson was driving home from his friend's house when he saw something bobbing up and down in the frozen river. Wondering what it was, he turned his car around to go inspect what could be in the water.
I look closely, and I can see these arms struggling to stay above the water.
He saw right away that it was a deer. He thought about calling 911, but knew that the deer didn't have much time.
It's in rough shape. It had icicles all over its face, and it looks like it had been there for a while.
So he pushed the log out toward the deer and got on his hands and knees and started crawling to the animal, which was moving frantically, trying to get out of the river.
I made my way across the ice the ice got thinner and thinner to the point where I could see the water below it.
He finally reached the deer, put a trailer strap around its head and front leg, and pulled. It was a struggle, but the deer was finally out of the water. Then he took the straps off of it. That's when he decided to give it a name, Miss Ice River.
I was completely drenched, soaking wet, freezing cold.
The deer lay limp, too weak to stand up. Peterson waited with the deer for another hour, making sure it was okay.
After I felt that this deer was okay and no longer in a near-death situation, I said my farewell to the deer and made my way back to my truck.
When Peterson decided to record himself rescuing the deer, he had no idea that the video would go viral.
You know, I know there would be people saying that you took such a risk and it was dangerous. And I knew that.
But it was a risk he was willing to take, and he is glad that he did.
I would have just ignored it, dismissed it. I mean, it would have eaten at me, and I would have just felt a sense of guilt. I would have kept thinking this for years to come, that I should have rescued this deer.
Miss Ice River got a second chance to live, and has Peterson to thank for that. Peterson says he was a teacher at the Michigan School for the Deaf, and the problem-solving skills he acquired as a woodshop teacher there helped him rescue the deer. In the studio, I'm Lena Takada, KQDS, Fox 21.
Now, dairy farmers in West Texas say they took a big hit during the winter's deadly rounds of severe storms. More than half the state's biggest milk-producing farms were in the path of the storms. Farmers lost thousands of cows, and that put a strain on the state's future milk supply.
It's only been a few days since Winter Storm Goliath hit, and dairy farmers are starting to see the aftermath.
Of course, we can't predict an act of God like we had the last couple days, but they do their best.
The blizzard causing many cows to become injured or killed as they stepped over one another while being trapped in pens and behind windbreaks.
Roughly day to day and a half period for all producers that could not get to the milk barn with the cows, were not able to milk the cows. So we've had a real large economic loss to producers, and then a lot of health issues with a lot of animals.
According to the Texas Association of Dairymen, 5 out of the 10 counties that produce dairy in the state were affected.
There's no way around having a decrease in production, and then of course that will usually in some amount it will increase your cost to the consumer a little bit of a shortage product.
Executive Director Darren Turley says it could take a while for dairy production to get back to normal.
For most animals that go through something like this, they won't produce where they were at before. It'll take another year and start producing again to get back to where their normal production is.
But experts at AgriLife say since this is only the beginning of winter, there's still time for dairy farmers to adapt and prepare for the next storm.
We've been adapting for hundreds of years, raising cattle and raising animals and food in this neck of the woods. All they're going to do is adapt, figure out how they can get better, how they can ensure that their operation is more profitable and safe and healthy through the next storm to come.
Next, the University of Michigan has released its annual list of banished words. The school says words or phrases are included on the list because they're overused, misused, or just in bad taste. Blake Ladowski reports.
It's fun to, see the list of words and see if they agree or disagree, or see if they think that, oh yeah, that's something that's been bothering me a lot too. I hear that and it just drives me nuts.
Lake Superior State University released its 2016 list of banned words. Top contenders included vape, break the internet, and conversation.
You get tired of the same repeated words that you hear on TV or just in the media in general, and so this is our way of saying we're done with those words and you can't use them anymore.
Lake State alum Scott Shackleton's first submission ever made this year's list. He was one of many to submit the word so when it's used at the beginning of a sentence.
It's one of those words that has no meaning the way it's being misused, and gosh, I just hope it stops.
The university started banning words back in 1976, and since then they've received thousands of submissions each year from the U.S. and across the world.
Every year I think, well, maybe people aren't going to be as interested in this as they are, and they really are. Everybody has something about the language, a word or a phrase that drives them crazy.
It's a tradition LSSU is proud of and plans to continue.
We're all about tradition up here. It just gives us something to hold on to and some tradition to keep moving forward with. So I think it'll be here for years to come.
Now we're going to take a short break, but coming up we take a look at a family that is sending not one, but 2 members off to defend our country.
And we also take a look at how these cold temperatures are affecting the Midwest.
Circling your head, contemplating everything you ever said. Now I see the truth, I got it down. A different motive in your eyes, and now I'm out. See you later. I see your fantasy. You wanna make it a reality, baby. Don't see inside.
Hi, do you have ID? Yep. Oh, okay, thanks.
Your shit.
Hi, do you have ID?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, you can't be in the building without ID. I need to have...
It's okay.
Excuse me. Yes, security, please. There's a young man in the building without ID, and he's running away from my post here at Call Duty.
Welcome back. For about 800 girls in northern Utah, this Valentine's Day is one they probably won't forget. And it's all thanks to a very generous classmate. Deandra Woodruff has the story.
It meant a lot.
Caden Craw is still a little bit giddy
I felt very special, actually.
after what happened at school.
I brought it home, and my mom's like, "Who gave you that?" Hayden.
This was good.
Hayden Godfrey,
I want to make as many people happy as possible.
the high school senior whose good deed has quickly become the talk of the town.
We got around 800 flowers out there.
One for every girl at Skyview High School.
I don't think a girl should be left out during Valentine's Day.
Hayden ordered the flowers himself, recruited some friends, and just before school ended on Thursday for the long weekend, passed them out.
Everybody was holding a flower. I just thought that was so cool.
Impressive, right? Well, especially when you consider it cost this student nearly $500 to pull off. Hayden works here at Lee's Marketplace as a bagger. He's been saving all of his money to buy those flowers. And you can bet there's no way he could have done that with just one paycheck.
There's no way. There's no way.
Steve Hogan knows he's Hayden's boss.
To spend your money like that, it takes someone with real heart.
Now, you might think Hayden is the luckiest guy in school right now. 800 girls with flowers, 800 potential dates for this big man on campus. Except,
I already have a girlfriend, so.
That's right.
It's really sweet of him to do this.
He's taken.
To watch every single one of those girls walk out of school with a big smile on their face makes me very happy and very proud of him.
Up next, drivers in Toledo, Ohio got quite the surprise Sunday morning. 2 gas stations got into a bit of a price war, and that meant drivers paying just pennies a gallon for a fill-up. And you won't believe how this all started. Daniel Dwyer explains.
2 cents in, and I got 13 gallons so far. I can't complain.
This morning there was a gas war going on at Hagman and Alexis Road. One that started off accidentally but left several drivers happy.
I've never seen anything like this. It was wonderful.
It started at 2:30 this morning. Gas prices at the Pilot Travel Center on Hagman stood at just 49 cents. And by 4 a.m. they dropped to just 19 cents. Now the pilot clerk told WTOL the dropping prices were the cause of a computer malfunction, a glitch that prompted the Circle K across the street to get in on the action. They dropped their prices too, to just 17 cents, and someone even had a receipt reading out at a penny per gallon. But unlike Pilot, when we called Circle K, the clerk said it wasn't a malfunction. They adjusted their prices to compete, leaving customers in disbelief.
I just filled my whole gas tank from dead empty for 26 cents. So, yeah, I told her to put 10 on it. She said, "Oh, it gave me $5, so I gotta go get my change." That's too funny.
And of course, sharing it with their friends on social media.
I already took a video. It's already on Facebook, so yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know how long it'll last, but hopefully long enough for people to fill up their gas tanks for cheap.
The price drop lasted for at least 3 hours, and if you drive by now, you'll see they're back up to $1.51.
Now, a New England Children's Hospital will bear the name of actress Jennifer Lawrence. The Hunger Games star donated $2 million to help build an intensive care unit for young heart patients. In Kentucky, Ann Bowden reports.
I'm Jennifer Lawrence. I'm excited to announce that we will be establishing the Jennifer Lawrence Foundation Cardiac Intensive Care Unit at Kosare Children's Hospital.
Doctors, staff, and patients watched as Jennifer Lawrence announced the plans for this state-of-the-art facility and her foundation's $2 million donation toward the project. Her family says the children at Kosare Children's Hospital touched her heart when she visited at Christmas.
You can see how it touches the parents when Jen goes in and signs the posters and gives them the posters, and it just makes me really proud, and I know it really touches her too.
The facility will help children recovering from open heart surgeries, heart transplants, heart failure, and other cardiac conditions.
At our 20-week ultrasound on August 16, 2010, we found out that our son was going to be born with what is called, like Tom said, hypoplastic left heart.
Little Jonathan Young was born with half a heart. A part of the Brave Heart program at Kosare, he will directly benefit from Lawrence's donation and new facility.
The first day that we got to take our son home from here, Kosare Children's Hospital, was on Valentine's Day.
Those are the results Lawrence's family says Jennifer wants. They say she's always had a heart for children.
She always thought she would be a doctor so she could come in here and fix them, but she's doing her part.
It is now time for another break. Coming up later in the show, we will take a look at how a famous cricket player put his foot in his mouth on live television.
Beyond the District will return right now.
You're not Cricky.
I know.
For outcasts and rebels, or anyone who just dares to be different. And you've been trying for so long to find out where your place is, but in their narrow minds there's no room for anyone who dares to do something different. Oh, but listen for a minute. Trust the one who's been where you are, wishing all it was sticks and stones. Those words cut deep, but they don't mean you're all alone. And you're not invisible. Hear me out. There's so much more to life than what you're feeling now.
Welcome back to Beyond the District. I'm Chris Ortiz. A woman in Minnesota gave birth on the side of the road while trying to reach the hospital. To make things worse, the temperature was minus 28 degrees Fahrenheit. As Josh Shooter reports, her husband delivered a baby girl with a unique name.
Rogue Maxa earned her name simply by being born.
Any time that I envision her not following directions or being in trouble, I can just hold it over her head for the rest of her life, I think.
With a due date next Saturday, Ben and Dexy Maxa were not expecting they'd be heading to the hospital Saturday morning.
So I woke Ben up at about 5:30 and I was like, I think I'm in labor.
And he's like, okay.
The nearest hospital to the Max's home in Big Fork is Grand Itasca Hospital in Grand Rapids. So the two hopped in their minivan and started off on the 40-mile trip.
And Ben's like, try not to push, try not to push. And I'm like, you have to call 911. And he's like, what? And I'm just screaming and he couldn't understand me.
And at one point she had told me to stop. I said, there's no way we're stopping. You know, we're 4 miles out of town. And she said, no, stop, we're having a child right here.
So Ben pulled over the minivan to the side of Highway 38 just outside of Grand Rapids, opened the sliding door, and delivered their daughter himself.
So I was on the phone, 911, holding my phone on my shoulder and trying to deliver a child with one hand.
To complicate things further, Ben was only born with one hand, but he says that didn't impede the birth.
I don't know what it's like having two. You know, I ask people, like, how do you operate both of those?
And after only a minute, the Maxes had a 6-pound, 10-ounce addition to the family. The shock was so much it took Ben a few moments to realize how cold it was.
We both were in shock for about 15, 20 seconds, and it was 28 below zero. And I was standing on the highway holding a freshly newborn child.
Ben wrapped Rogue in a blanket and an ambulance arrived only a few minutes later. Hospital staff say even in rural Minnesota, where some people have to drive 60 miles to get to their birthing center, Rogue's story is one of a kind.
This is a very rare experience. It's very unique to Grand Itasca. It's never happened before in the time that I've been here.
Next, a homeowner in California wants to pay special tribute to his late father and the home he grew up in. He decided to do that through photographers. One that were big enough to cover an entire house. Reporter Courtney Farrell takes us there.
Until it's torn down next month to make way for a brand new condo complex.
And he actually took care of my father when he was getting old.
Gary Sweeney grew up in the house on 35th Street, which his father, Mike, a former Manhattan Beach councilman and mayor, bought back in 1945 for just $5,400, then lived in up until his death in 2000. With great sadness, Gary recently sold the property.
It was a very tough decision, but it was time. The house has fallen apart. We don't have children to pass it on to.
Gary wanted to pay tribute to the home and his dad, who loved photography and took all of these pictures featuring Gary's mom Anita, sister Gail, cousin Mark, and grandmother Maggie in their beloved beach community.
Just loved Manhattan Beach, and there wasn't, all the way up until the day he died, he was involved in something with the community.
And people like Julian Tran, who came up from Orange County with her dog to see the photos, appreciate the Sweeney's memories.
And I love art, and I love photography. That's why I'm out here with him. I take him around, we look at murals all over LA, we drive around, and this is like the perfect combination of both.
And Gary is overwhelmed by the community support for his laborious project, which included scanning the pictures, getting them printed on plywood, then sawing them down to size to screw onto the outside walls. It was no project at Kinko's.
No. I actually have done a lot of large public art pieces, so like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, and it was actually really fun to do.
Now, a special needs teenager has brought the crowd to its feet at a school basketball game. He nailed the money shot just seconds before the buzzer. Jason Lamb has the story.
Inside the high school gym at Franklin Road Academy.
There you go. That's better.
It doesn't take long to see how much 19-year-old Robert Lewis loves basketball.
Almost.
He's the manager for the school team, and he even has his own nickname.
Money. Good shot.
My nickname is Money, Robert.
He works incredibly hard at everything he does.
Robert has Down syndrome, and last Friday night he was at FRA's game against the University School of Nashville when the head coach invited Robert to suit up and sub in.
I went in and played basketball.
Not only that, the opposing team sent Robert's brother Matthew in to guard him, and then Money Robert got the ball.
I got the ball. There was 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. I was back there in the for a three-pointer.
A three-pointer that went up and then in. There were still those 5 seconds left on the clock, which explains the delay in what happened next.
After the game, everybody was storming the court, they were picking me up, saying, "Ronnie, Robert." I just love it, and I love the players and my coaches.
About that moment that has now gone viral, his parents couldn't believe it.
I've never seen so much love in one gym in my life.
His coaches couldn't believe it.
It's a moment we'll never forget. I don't think we'll ever experience anything more special.
But Robert, he knew it.
I know that ball was going in, and my reaction, I was about to jump up and down. I was so happy that I got that reaction.
If it wasn't clear before Friday night, there's no doubt now. There's a lot more love here than just for basketball.
I just love my family so much, and I just love everyone.
For the guy with the nickname Money Robert, last Friday was priceless.
I just love that moment when everybody was so happy for me.
Wrapping up tonight's show, one of the most talked about moments of Saturday's Republican debate hosted by ABC were the awkward candidate entrances. So awkward that it got CNN's Jan Moos thinking about other not-so-grand entrances.
The desperate gestures of a backstage handler told the story of what one website called a chain reaction of cringe. Sure, it could have been worse. No one fell like Miss America, no one got a concussion like Conan did, or tripped over a red carpet while singing their national anthem on skates. Nope, the debate introduction,
Chris Christie,
was just incredibly awkward.
Dr. Ben Carson!
Starting when Ben Carson didn't respond to his name, for the obvious reason,
I couldn't hear.
And just when Carson seemed ready to advance,
Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz cruised by, but Donald Trump likewise seemed to miss his name, letting
Jeb Bush
brush by with a tap and a "see you later, guys" expression.
And that is something you will never see again, Jeb Bush passing Donald Trump.
When the moderators finally introduced
the Republican candidates,
only 4 were there. Chris Christie volunteered.
Can I introduce so noisy in here? Yes.
What a mess, tweeted Wendy Williams, which prompted a Carson defender to bring up a dramatic entrance Wendy made on stage. Sometimes your entrance can go just fine, but then it's time for your exit. Remember when President Bush had trouble handling those locked door handles in China? On The View, the hosts recreated the Republican snafu.
Michelle Collins!
As they made their entrance, but when it comes to hailing these chiefs, better hail them louder. Jeannie Mo, CNN, New York.
Remember, if you have a story you would like us to cover,
or if you have an announcement about an upcoming event, please send it to Interschool Mail to TV Studio at High School East, or you can email us at tv21@tomsriverschools.com.
Jared, it's you.
Also, be sure to tune in TV21 throughout the day to catch this show and Tom's River School Today as we bring stories from around the district. Please send it to look at our website, trschools.com/TV21.
Well, that wraps up tonight's show. For Beyond the District, I'm Chris Ortiz.
I'm Jared Weiss. Have a great night.